Thank you.
This conference will now be recorded.
Do you want me to go ahead, Drago?
Yes, please. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Being 6 o'clock, we will proceed with the council meeting of May 25th, 2022. Call to order at 6 p.m.
Okay, so be it resolved that we do call this regular meeting of council to order on Wednesday, May 25th, 2022 at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Moved by?
I'll move it.
Okay, Councilor Peter Kissemaker, seconded by Councilor Belinda Kissemaker. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you. The Indigenous Land Acknowledgement. The Council, Corporation, and Township of Hornepayne would like to begin by respectfully acknowledging the land on which we gather here today is the Treaty Number 9, 1905 to 1906 territory, the traditional lands of indigenous peoples. As we work towards reconciliation, may we all live with respect on this land, live in peace and friendship with all its diverse peoples. Thank you. Item number 3, review and note any changes to the agenda, Gail.
So yes, the closed session was removed because the staffing issue has been resolved.
Thank you. We'll proceed. Item number 4, approve of the agenda. Item number 4.1, approve agenda.
Be it resolved that council does hereby approve the agenda as amended.
Moved by, please, Councilor Belinda Kissemaker, second by Councilor John Peroff. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you. Item number 5, disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof, declaration of conflict of interest seen in front of me will proceed at any time during the meeting. You may declare as such. Thank you. Item number 6, deputations, representations, tender awards, and open discussion. 6.1, Gail.
Whereas the Township of Hornepayne was a successful applicant to the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, Culture and Recreation Stream, Rehabilitation and Renovation Intake for a Community Center Upgrading and Expansion of Current Facility, and subsequently issued a Request for Proposals, RFP, for consultant services for Community Arena Rehabilitation and Expansion Design, Project Management, Contract Administration for the Hornepayne Community Arena. And whereas the Township of Hornepayne received 4 proposal submissions as follows, all prices exclude HST. Barry Bryan Associates from Whitby, Ontario, in the amount of $653,500 plus HST. Critchley Hill Architecture Incorporated from North Bay, Ontario, in the amount of $497,500 plus HST. J.L. Richards and Associates Limited from Timmins, Ontario, in the amount of $546,700 plus HST, and John Van Leyen Architecture and Design from Winnipeg, Manitoba, in the amount of $463,500 plus HST. And whereas members of the senior management team reviewed and compared the above proposals based on the criteria listed in the attached staff report and have identified the proposal from J.L. Richards and Associates Limited as a consultant who best understands the scope of the project and who will provide the best value. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne, upon the recommendation of the Economic Development Officer, does hereby accept the tender submission from J.L. Richards and Associates Limited of Timmins, Ontario, in the amount of $546,700, excluding HST, for Community Arena Rehabilitation and Expansion Design, Project Management, and Contract Administration for the Hornepayne Community Arena, and authorizes same to notify all proponents and to prepare a service agreement for signature in order that the project can proceed.
Thank you, Gail. Comments, observation from members of council, please. Please go ahead, Councilor Peroff.
Yeah, it's a general question. I was just wondering, a tender award of this size, Was anybody from council or the mayor involved in any part of the decision?
No,
Please go ahead.
no, and they normally aren't.
No, okay.
We
Thank
have a
you.
pretty stringent, sorry, I was just gonna say, we had a pretty stringent evaluation criteria.
Okay, I was just wondering if any of council was approached or had the opportunity to be involved in major projects like this.
No, not generally, not at that level.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Further questions, comments from members of council? If I may, I looked at the report presented by the administration. I know Dale Richards because I'm in another committee, the board actually. We also use their services. They were efficient, on time, and very professional. I concur with the administration's recommendation 100% to proceed as recommended. Thank you. Any further comments, please? Go ahead, Belinda, please. Council Belinda Kissemaker.
Besides being from the north, which is a bonus, is there something that stuck out compared to the other ones that made you want to pick them?
Go
Go
ahead,
ahead,
Gail, please. Stacy, go ahead.
So one of the biggest things with JL Richards is that they have a really extensive team. So all the different aspects of the project they will do in-house. They will actually do the energy audit in-house and the accessibility. So on our team, we have a past building inspector that will help with the energy or the accessibility audit. And for the energy audit, they have a full team of lead certified staff members. They have done extensive projects with energy retrofits and projects. We also called references on and spoke to them. They're actually currently doing the Hearst Arena. They've done a lot in the north. Because they have such an extensive team in-house, they can easily integrate the different parts of the project right into the architecture drawings as they proceed. Their schedule was in line with ours. Their cost is only about 12%, which is actually a little bit surprising because usually we see between 15 and 18% of total grant costs that they would just do. So this is for project management, contract administration, the architecture, and both energy audits. So 12% was really good. So that was just some of the highlights.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to hear.
Great. Thank you for a great question, Councilor Kissemaker, and thank you for a well-rounded answer, Stacy. Well done. So, may I have a mover, please, on this major project?
No, I'll move it.
Moved by Peter Kissemaker, seconded by Councilor John Peroff. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you. Item number 7, correspondence action items. Ontario Clean Water Agency, Hornepayne Drinking Water Special Report 2021-2022. Go ahead, Gail, please. Gail, you're muted. Sorry.
Sorry, thank you. Be it resolved that council does hereby acknowledge receipt of the 2021-2022 Hornepayne Drinking Water Inspection Report as prepared by the Ontario Clean Water Agency, OCWA.
Any questions, comments regarding the report? Thank you. Being none, may I have a mover, please, and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Belinda Kistemaker, second by Councilor John Peroff. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you so much. Item 7.2, École Saint Nom de Jesus, grade 5, 6, 7, 8 class, learning for sustainable future project. Gail, go ahead, please.
Whereas council received correspondence from École Saint Nom de Jesus, grades 5, 6, 7, 8 class to promote their ongoing project funded through Learning for a Sustainable Future. And whereas the project the students chose is to grow flowers in order to increase air quality and attract bees to improve pollination. And whereas the flowers grown will be planted in the schoolyard and at local businesses, and the students would like for council to take part. And whereas council is impressed with the creativity and environmental consciousness of the students, be it therefore resolved that the council of the corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby accept their offer of flowers. Be it further resolved that a letter of appreciation will be sent to the students.
Thank you, Gail. Comments, observations by members of council? If I may, I think it's a wonderful program. It's going to beautify our community. I think it's a wonderful effort thrust on behalf of teacher principal from Holy Name School. And I think this should be commended as through the letter from the CAO to them for their extraordinary effort to do what they're doing in many respects, what it states in the correspondence. Thank you. May we have a mover, please, and a seconder in this one, please?
I'll move it.
Okay, moved by Peter Kiss, Council Peter Kistemaker, seconded by Council Belinda Kistemaker. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you so much. Item number 8, correspondence information only. Resolution, please, Gail.
Be it resolved that the council of the corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby acknowledge receipt of the correspondence information only package attached to the agenda of the regular meeting of the council held on Wednesday, May 25th, 2022.
All right. Any comments, observation, or correspondence only, please? Being none, may I have a mover, please? Councilor John Peroff, moved by, seconded by Council Belinda Kistemaker. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you so much. Item number 9, new and other business. 9.1, set a special meeting. Please go ahead.
Excuse
Gail.
me.
Sorry, apologize.
There were a couple more items under information only, but everybody was good with that. I just want to make sure.
Okay.
Good. I think you asked, but
Yes, I did.
okay, perfect. Sorry about that.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, be it resolved that the council of the corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby set a special meeting of council on Tuesday, June 7th, 2022 at 5 p.m. in a virtual meeting room for the purposes outlined below. Presentation of the Newinjana Forest Management Corporation NFMC strategic plan and council feedback.
Comments, observations from members of council? Being none, sorry. Go ahead, Council Peroff.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted an update on what the special meeting was about.
It's just on the NFMC strategic plan. They approached us and they're wanting to present to all the councils in the region.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. May I have a mover for item number 9.1, please?
I'll move it.
Moved by Council Peter Kistemaker, second by Council John Peroff. All in favor?
Aye.
Carrie, thank you so much. Item 9.2, council discussion, strategic planning, suggestions for consideration of next council. item for discussion.
Did you want me to read the resolution right now?
Yes, go ahead, please, and thank you.
Okay, whereas council feels it would be responsible and pragmatic to provide a report summarizing the plans and projects that the township has been working on during the current council term in order to ease the transition for the next council, therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby direct the deputy clerk to provide the incoming council with a staff report for their information based on council discussion at the regular meeting of May 25th, 2022.
All right, let's have a discussion and we'll get a mover and a seconder. Any comments on the 9.2 issue from the strategic plan? And also there was a couple items for myself and Senator Ontario we have to discuss. And those are the areas we're looking at. Please go ahead, Councilor Belinda Kissmaker. Thank you.
I'm not too sure what you're actually looking for. Like, do you want us to just go through what the law, for instance, Councillor Stefanik's long-term and short-term goals and say what we think that's
Well,
about, or how do
okay.
you want to,
Sure.
you know?
Thank you for asking that. I really appreciate that. The only thing that I really want to focus on is long-term goals. It's on page 2. It's the building of a new public works, 3-bay garage. And this is for a recommendation for next council, obviously. Because as we all know, and I said it numerous times, our municipal building is not in good state in many different aspects. My suggestion was as I travel through northeastern Ontario, when they're building new builds, they're putting municipal office, public works, and fire department in the same location as a new building. We have land and public works currently in the compound. It would be suggestion when appropriate grants do arrive that to apply for and proceed in there. That was my recommendation because there's a lot of parking there. It's easily accessible, all those things, because sooner or later we will have to look at that issue. There's no question. So I think that the only one, thank you, Councilor Belinda, that was the only one that was really focusing on. Go ahead, please. Please go ahead.
So these are to deal with the strategic plan, right?
Right,
So
yeah.
what I'm trying to say is when it comes to strategic plan and going forward,
Right.
we still have a variety of things that are happening. So some
Right.
of the things that I noticed that were mentioned, like signage, for instance. So that's
Right.
the rebranding of our town.
That is
So
correct. So tell me,
when are we planning to do that rebranding? Is that coming up? Is that what we have to put in the strategic plan? Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
just to go on that, is this an opportunity for us to look at establishing a 10-year plan? Because we don't have that yet. So should that be
Correct.
mentioned in our strategic plan?
Okay, thank you. Through Gail, go ahead, Gail, please.
So really, this is probably an unorthodox discussion for council to have in the first place, I think. But I think the current strategic plan that you have actually extends into the end of next year. So I don't really think when this was brought up a few months ago, the intention was to redo your strategic plan. I think it was just to sort of give your input, I guess, on what new council may want to consider or where we are with what we're working on. Because we have so many things that are, as you know, that are on the go that need to be completed before really adding anything else to it. So I think it was more or less just a Because really, I don't even know if recommending is the right thing, because I don't really
Yeah.
think you can do that. But I think it's just to
Right.
provide them with an overview of the direction that this council is going in, with the hopes, of course, that it will continue that way. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's so much with specifics as just kind of updating them and providing them with the information for the smooth transition. Does that answer your question? Like, it's not to set new goals right now. That's for them to do
Right.
when they come in, like probably a year from now, sort of thing.
Any supplementary comments, Belinda, please? No. Yeah, when I originally came down council 8 years ago, I would appreciate a report, not a recommendation, just to communicate an overall status, what's going on. Because usually, as we know from our personal experiences, 1 or 2 years you get into the situation, you realize the things that should be repaired, upgraded. Now, this is just communicate to say, hey, this is what's happening. This is the areas to be looked at as members of new council. That's all it is. I mean, they could take it, leave it, discard it, or run with it. I mean, but I wanted them to know, whoever members of new council will be in this fall, to have some information that's crucial to them, as opposed to searching it and finding it out, oh geez, guess what, we have a problem. So that was my intent, no other intent at all. And further down to Central Ontario, excuse me, again, I think it would be a recommendation from council, and Council Belinda's on the same committee as I. We need minimum to make this thing happen is $10,000. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. I said that second last meeting, third last meeting. So again, that would be suggestion, and that would be a recommendation actually in that respect, that to proceed with this, we just need the funds, maybe through reserves, capital expenditures, grants, but minimum of 10,000. And I'm sure Council Belinda could also comment, but that's minimum in my eyes. Go ahead, please, Gail.
Yeah, and there's a few things on this list that I see that would be sort of a good guide, if you want to call it that, for planning for budgeting for next year. I mean, we already talked about the firefighter certification and those requirements. We have been putting money away for the 100th anniversary, but they may not be aware of that, whoever comes on next. Right. We talked about doing the municipal election reserve fund, yes. You know, so you're not doing that all in 1 year. So a lot of these things are related also to trying to start thinking about, like you said, Belinda, that like a 10-year plan, like say for the Hallmark Center. I mean, those studies and all the steps that are going to have to be taken for sure are going to have to be planned out, and there's going to have to be money set aside or grants applied for or whatnot, or again, like they're not going to happen. So I think it's key to at least provide that information so that the projects could potentially be continued on. So I think a lot of the purpose is for ideas for budget.
Thank you, Gail. Further comments from council? Go ahead, please, Council Peroff.
Yeah, you know, I'm sitting here and we keep getting information, all kinds of information, but I really feel that we should be doing that strategic plan, like you say, gathering all this information and working it out all together into one major plan. I like your list and I like all the things that are on it. And I know that we got a strategic plan being developed and whatever, but at some point, council has to come together and bring it all together at once and have a real live discussion over it. Yeah, it's kind of hard to predict the future, right?
Yeah, but as the CEO Gail mentioned, this plan was from 2020 to 2023, And it, again, I think is crucial timing with new members of council, whoever's elected. It's a good time, as you say, Council Barrow. That is the time to strike the fire. That's the time to make those decisions, alter the living plan, strategic plan. It's a living plan. It changes, alters, and then to set it whatever, as Councilor Kissenmaker mentioned, if we want to do a 10-year plan, 3, 5, and 10 years, and yeah, let's put it right inside and put the numbers cost of 2023, but obviously an inflation of 24, 25, 20. But yeah, I agree. That we could move forward from there. I agree. And 2023 would be a good idea. Go ahead, please, Councilor Belinda. Please.
One thing that has to happen with the new council is they have to understand what obstacles the staff has encountered and why they have ran into these obstacles, and going forward and helping, getting them to realize they got to help find solutions to these problems. And mainly everyone has to be on the same plan. So, and I don't think anyone who comes onto council is going to realize, unless it's one of us or all of us or whatever that are running again, I don't think they'll get it until they actually see and hear. So I think that's a major thing.
Yeah, I agree. And that's to follow up on that excellent comment, Councillor. That's the reason I put a recommendation, but should be guideline suggestions, because you'll give whoever new members of council are some input, a picture. I painted a picture from what's to be done, and they could take it from there, look at it, and play with those areas that I presented. They could discard, as I said earlier, but that's something to look at, something to grasp, as opposed to looking left, right, and center. And yeah, I agree. All right. Next, the item on there is GIS. Gail, please.
Oh, a couple of these things were brought up earlier. So the deputy clerk had done some research and has provided a report for you, or I guess more for the new council, really. But so I can't really answer to any questions on that, but she can certainly do so if you'd like her to. She'll just have to come in here. You'll just have to give her a minute.
Right. But it was just for general information for members of council. That was my understanding.
Yeah, we were asked to get some background on it, so that's what she did.
Thank you so much. Go ahead, please, Councilor Belinda, please.
This GIS program, I really think that going forward for the new council, it's really going to help, I believe, with your asset management plan going forward. And so somehow I just think that it's going to be more and more important. And I don't know, when John was talking about doing within the community, I kind of really like that idea, because then I think it'll help us get the work done faster, but I'm not sure. I'm just saying. But I think it's something that we can't let go, and I think it is very important that it is discussed.
Okay, thank you. Obviously, another issue with Council Belinda would be for members, new council again. I mean, our time is winding down, and it's something to look at right in January and have some serious discussions. I mean, it would make sense. Go ahead, Council Barrow, please.
Yeah, I think the conversation from my end, anyways, to spark it was that we're paying for a service, and from what I've been hearing over the last couple of years, we really aren't getting our money's worth. And that's kind of a disrespectful to our taxpayers, kind of. I know it's a small amount, but it was just something that I noticed. So I think it needs to be addressed. And since we are doing the strategic plan and we're building our community, this is the time to move on it.
Right. I respect what you're saying, and there's no question. However, if you recall the discussion a couple months previous, the major issue was the staffing issue within our own operation. That was a big one, and I got to be honest in the forefront, the fact that that was the biggest issue. Otherwise, I think we would handle that area. But it's a mammoth undertaking. There's no question. If that person is coming and go, once this pandemic is over, coming here once a week, getting information, drawing, putting out. I mean, one thing to draw the information, but then is to collate it, to put it together, to make it click together. I personally think it's a major undertaking. Not that I'm an expert in that area, but to put it in such a way that our staff could extract the information when they require it. But again, I think the new council discussion on it. I agree.
I think
Please, Gail.
there's a big discussion on that point.
Sure. Thank you. Go ahead, Gail, please.
Yeah, so you're right. We should be using it more and we'd love to use it more, but it comes down to capacity. So the bottom line is there's either going to have to be money put into the budget for staffing for it or to change providers or whatever. So that, again, that's something that's going to have to go into the budget, because definitely it's the perfect thing for asset management, and it's not like we don't know that, but we just can't handle all of the things that are going on right now, and that is a really big one. And as much as we would be like to delve right into it, it's just not possible right at this point in time. But again, it's budget.
Oh, yeah.
Further comments on that issue, please? Any members of council?
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay. Thank Councilor Belinda, please.
This is a perfect example of what we were talking about before, where whoever comes on council has to understand the roadblocks that we're encountering and how we're going to get through it. And again, this is an opportunity because we have all this construction coming into our community, and this is where it would fit and adapt to our plans. So I don't know.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you for all the comments and observations. We will proceed to the next resolution, please. Hallmark Center demolition, please.
Actually, there's one to accept that GIS report ahead of that
I'm
one.
sorry. I apologize. Yes, of course.
So be it resolved, the council does hereby acknowledge receipt of the DCSR 2022-04 Geographic Information System GIS report as prepared by Jennifer Hill, Deputy Clerk.
Thank you. May I have a mover on that, please? Council Belinda Kissemaker, Council John Peroff, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you so much. Thank you, Gail. We'll proceed to the Hallmark Center demolition.
Be it resolved that council does hereby acknowledge receipt of CAO SR 2022-11 Hallmark Demolition Report as prepared by Gail Jeremy, CAO Clerk.
All right, but before we move to second, comments, please, on the very in-depth report prepared by the administration. Any comments or observations, please, members of council? Any comments or observations? If I may, I read the report, analyzed it. I think in my eyes, that timeline is fine. This is a major undertaking, and this has to be done right the first time. There's no second time. I like the chronological order, the way it's set up. I mean, obviously, we had the mayor involved, public works manager, and the economic development officer. There was a lot of thoughts put into this report. And I would, I mean, it's a living document. Things change. It's not written in rock or stone. But I would initially accept this and proceed as presented. But again, with new members of council, it's a living document. It can be changed, altered, moved around. That is my take on that one. Thank you. Comments, observations? Please go ahead, Councilor Belinda. Please.
So I like that we have a plan. I like that it was discussed. I just wish I was part of it.
Okay.
I think your plan is too long. And the reason why I'm saying that, because when I think of the mall and what's going on with that place, for me, it's a safety hazard. It's a safety hazard to our community. It's a safety hazard to anyone who enters it, period. And people are probably still getting in there. So saying that, I noticed you're mentioning that it's a liability. Yes, it's a liability, but to me, it's more of a safety hazard. And that's how I think we should be marketing this thing, and that we need to do something, and we need to do it quicker than having it down by 2030.
Okay, thank you. Now, if I may ask you then, Councillor, if there are no grants available, would you still proceed with the direct taxpayers' cost to demolish the building?
I do feel no matter what, we have to tear it down, because no matter what is down in our downtown location, and it's prime property, and taking it down, will it outweigh the benefit of having it being sold, being used, whatever, for the future? So I to me, it's a priority.
Okay.
But I also believe on doing things in stages and looking at every avenue we possibly can in order to finish this.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Gail, please.
So I'm just thinking maybe this is a time now to go back to AMO with this issue. We have been to several ministries over the years with this, but never with even a tentative plan, or it was more like, you need to do this for us. You know, you have to help us. You have to take care of this for us. Now we don't think that way anymore. We're not presenting things in that manner anymore. We're trying to work together. So I think that would be a good, you know, even if we bumped up the timeline or whatnot. I mean, obviously it's for future people to determine. But I mean, if we go with at least some ideas, and you know, the intent to apply for funding and all that kind of stuff, I think now is a good time for that to start.
Comments, Councilor Peroff?
I agree with all the comments, but this building is going to deteriorate fast, and it's becoming a safety hazard. I think it should be we should do something with it sooner than later. It should be higher on the priority list than what it has been in the past.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your input. Appreciate it. So now we, as Councilor Belinda, like I said, we're on the same page, so we know we want to. My main concern was what the cost of demolition, and that cost is going to be into millions. I dealt with a few facilities when I worked in Timmins and Hamilton, and you're looking at major cost. To if council of that day certainly agrees, it'd be nice to get at least 50% funding, I think, to offset some of the costs, and that will be borne by the our taxpayers, I think. But to tighten up the timelines, as Council Belinda suggested, we could, the term of council will be from 2022 to 2026, 4 years. So if that's could be a realistic goal, again, Belinda brought it, Council Belinda. So I don't know if she would think that's a more realistic goal. Then please go ahead, Belinda.
Yep, and I really believe the ministries they're looking at us differently, that now we're going forward with plans on how we want to do things. We're putting things in stages. They're listening to us. And Gail has it right. That's how we have to go forward and keep going that way. We can't demand things. We have to figure out how to do things for ourselves. It's important.
Okay. Thank you.
I'd like to comment.
Please go ahead.
I sympathize and fully agree with the plan that's come up with the timelines, probably more than anything because of the money and the cost, and that today's dollars are going to be between $5 and $6 million, and maybe more than that. But what we have to do as a group for the benefit of the community is not look at how we're going to pay for this. We have to now look at the inevitable. What are we going to do when it collapses on itself? Because we're not going to get 10 years out of this. I think we're fooling ourselves. In the first 10 years of it being shut down without the heat and the services, it degraded by probably 20%. And just by looking at these pictures, now that it's reached a certain stage, it is now potentially, I'm going to put it in the 80 to 90 percentile, that it's not going to last 10 years. It will collapse upon itself. And then what do we do then? And we have to have plan A and plan B, because this hallmark has been pushed off and pushed off and pushed off because no one wanted to deal with the problem. Now we have a plan now we have we had an asset to turn to a liability, and the clock is ticking, people. I don't have the answer. I'm just saying we now have to look at the potential or the possibility, and I believe that's a strong possibility that we're going to have a potential, like this hazard is going to become exponentially worse when it does collapse upon itself.
100% concur. There's no question. So if I could ask all members of council, again, is the timeline more realistic than 2022 to 2026? That's the time frame we're going to be working on, and push all the back the dates that was presented in the report. Is that agreeable? So it would be a 4-year, within 4 years, and whoever council is to recommend to proceed with this project with grants, without grants. Am I right in saying that?
I'll say it in two parts. I agree with that 100%, Councilor Stefanik, but I also agree with the people that come up with the plan. How are we going to do it? This is going to be our toughest hurdle to go over.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments. So again, do you want to tighten up to Council Belinda and Council Peroff to tighten up the strategic timeline 2022-26 and really push forward for the grant structure and move the whole thing forward much faster than it was presented in the report?
No, it all sounds good.
Okay.
I agree with Pete. I think that we might not have a choice. I think that it's getting to a point where it's a must. We have to look at how to get that down.
Okay, thank you. And it was suggested by CEO, I think a great suggestion. I mean, the standard, but great suggestion, AMO this fall, and reconfigure all the dates and have a presentation and indicate all the things that was said around the table, sure, around the screen, big screen here. So I think that's, if everybody agrees, we're on the same page. We'll proceed. And thank you very much to the staff and the mayor putting the effort forth to have something in hard copy and data, and we have the information. So it was a good board to bounce off and to give us more comments and ideas. And I thank the committee for that. I'm sure everybody appreciates that. So we will need a, what would you like to do, Gail? Would you like to move the dates or present it again at the next meeting? What's most ideal for you as administration is concerned?
I think we can just adjust the dates for the emo presentation. I mean, it's not going to happen with this council, so
Right,
I think like we've gotten some feedback and we can adjust that and put that into the presentation, and council always gets a copy of the presentations anyways.
right,
So-
right.
That's what I would suggest.
All agreed, members of council?
All right.
Thank you. Okay, we'll proceed then. Thank you. Thank you. So we'll proceed to the next item then.
Sorry, you just need a mover and a seconder for that
Oh, I
report.
apologize again. The discussion was so invigorating. Okay, mover, please.
I'll move it.
Councilor Peter Kistenmaker, seconded by Councilor Belinda Kistenmaker. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you so much. Great discussion. We'll proceed further. Then you want to discuss on the firefighter certification, Gail?
No, we were just collecting things as we went along during the meetings, adding things to the list that we wanted to bring the new council up to date on. So more or less for our purposes was for budgeting purposes, to just make sure they're not forgotten.
Thank you so much again for the wonderful work. Item, again, municipal election reserve fund. Your comments, Gail, please.
Just to set aside probably $4,000 a year would be the recommendation to cover the cost of the next election, instead of having to pay everything out of pocket in the 1 year.
Thank you. Hornepayne's 100, oh my gosh, 100th anniversary. What's your suggestion on the finances towards that from your team, Gail?
Well, same thing. We've been putting something aside every year. I don't believe we did it this past year, but the budget's pretty tight this year. But every year we've been putting some money aside. And I apologize, I don't have that information right now. And without Melissa, I didn't think ahead of time. She's usually right on the ball with that. And I don't have access to the system right now, but I think it's just important, just even if it's just a small amount, to keep going so that it's not a big hit in 2028 when that occurs. Because as you know, for the 75th anniversary, we started planning about 3 years ahead, and
That's
you know,
cool.
it's quite costly, and everything's just gone up, you know, monumentally since then. So
Right. Thank you for the information. And again, councils is aware currently, and the new members of council will be aware as well. Transportation, community shuttle ONR, your comments, Gail, please.
So Karina Moore, who's the CEO of ONR, has said time and time again she's willing to partner with any community that wants to bring in, you know, some kind of transportation or shuttle to meet up with their Ontario Northland buses or trains. We met with her recently, probably about a week or two before Phenom. So Mayor Fort and I think Stacy was there. I don't quite remember, but anyway, again, there's that community transportation fund, which is closed right now, but we'll keep an eye on that. And when it reopens, it's a matter of applying for that, finding a provider that's interested in providing the service. And they're willing to, you know, do daily shuttles from here to Hearst, or a shuttle to meet up with either Highway 17 or Highway 11 bus. Depending on what the community wants and what the community needs, they're totally willing to work with us. And we met up with her as well, not in a formal meeting, but we went and toured the ONR shop in North Bay at the Phenom conference. And my God, that is amazing. Like, that woman runs a tight ship, and it's really, really amazing to see. And it's clear that she just wants to make transportation better. They've
Yes,
now
yes.
got connections right to Pearson, to Go, to Via, And that's another thing she mentioned too, was hooking up with the train, the VIA train here, if possible. So lots of possibilities. It just would all depend on what the community wants. So
Yeah, I
just
agree.
something to watch out for in the future.
And I think Karina Moore, if it's doable, she'll do it. There's no question. We have her commitment and we have her word. When she says something, states something, it's going to become solid. And I highly respect her as Gail does. And the opportunity is still there. It's not gone. It's not disappeared. So that was nice to know that we're still on their radar as well for a positive thing of it. So.
And we do have a contact at the Ministry of Transportation that's always sat in on the delegation meetings. And so we keep in contact with him too. So if anything comes up, he can let us know, or we can ask for assistance or whatnot. So we do kind of have a line there as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. Any comments, observations? Other items for consideration, Gail, and report for incoming council, 2 items.
So the other
Yeah.
items for consideration were just things that I didn't know if council wanted to add anything else to our report that we're going to be doing. I mean, there's probably multiple things, but if there's anything,
Right.
that you really feel needs to be in that report, then, you can discuss it now and we can add it in.
Any comments, observations, please? If I may, as was discussed earlier, again, it was brought up by Councilor Belinda Kistenmaker. I think the strategic plan, as Council Paroff and Council Peter, we should put some numbers on the 3, 5, or 10-year plan where there has to be more concrete, more tight numbers, more tight dates. I think that could be something to look at. So the council looks at it, well, when do you want to do this as new members of council? I think that gives them a more precise guideline. Go ahead, please, Council Paroff.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think we need to see something in writing before we put a report out to send it off to next council. I think there needs to be some work done to it first.
But that's going to be placed by administration. Then, well, obviously they'll be shared with members of council. And then, am I correct, Gail? And then we could certainly do the report. Am I right saying that?
I think the intention when Mayor Fort brought this up was to collect ideas to provide information to the council. It wasn't to actively plan now because you're at the end of your term. That was my understanding anyways. So I'm not really sure what you mean, Councillor Paroff, about doing work on something.
Because, what I'm trying to get at is I'd like to see the whole picture, one picture, rather than all these things coming at me from different directions. I'd like to see the final report. I'd like to see some summary of everything that we're talking about here before.
Well, that will be the report. That will be the report. So, I mean, we can present the report to you before we give it to the incoming council. That's not an issue.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we're input right now. So, I mean, we're giving the administration some input from our end. They already provided us in the agenda that we're looking at today. So I think combined together, and it's again, it's a great comment. It's a guideline. It's something that them to help out when they jump in, feet first, not head first into their council role. So I think this is valuable to them. I really think so. All right. So we need mover and a seconder for. Sorry, Councilor Belinda. I apologize. Go ahead, please.
Going back to the strategic plan, sorry. I think before we finish, I think I'd like to know what is a final report on where we ended. What things are still out there, and kind of know why they're still out there, because when we did the strategic plan, we made it, it was overwhelming for the staff, probably overwhelming for us, because the things we asked for, we didn't think we would get very far, or we're wondering where we were going to get. And I think our staff, they did an excellent job of getting to where they are now and where they're probably going to get by the time the strategic term is over. I think what we can do for the new council is maybe say where we should have maybe cut back on, or if we're where we thought we maybe went overboard. So when they go to make up their strategic plan, it maybe isn't overwhelming, or if they can make it somewhat more better, that kind of thing. I think those things is maybe what we should be looking at. Gail, can you help me out?
No, this is
No,
good.
I think that's a good idea, and I think that's, we would normally do like a strat plan report or report card at the end of the year anyway, so it only makes sense to do it, a little bit earlier this time. And I think that will tie in nicely with the report, like the written report as well. So I think that would be really helpful. And I agree, like they need to, actually, they need to make a more manageable and realistic plan. But we had so many things that needed improvement and so many things that needed to be done. So I get why it is the size that it is, but it's probably, you'll probably not find another one like that on the planet. So I think once we can continue to knock these things off as we go along, it will become more manageable. And even though there will be new things to tackle, because we're planning ahead now, we can say, oh yes, well, we do need to do such and such, but we won't put it in this year's plan, we'll put it in next year's plan, like kind of like you were saying, like the 3, 5, 10 idea. So I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with Councillor Belinda. I think it was very complex. First time around, 20 to 23, I think was about 89 pages, hundreds of items on it. And I agree with Councillor Belinda. I think the staff, the administration team did a commendable job, because they were also tackling other issues, not just the strat plan. I mean, and I agree. I think they did it. Everyone on the team did a commendable job, no question, because it is a complex document, and I think tremendous amount has been accomplished. And yeah, maybe council could look at it, maybe downsizes it a bit, because just to help the administration to get a better handle, as opposed to being left, right, and center all the time and continuously running nonstop. So I agree with Councilor Belinda's comments. Any further comments? Go ahead, Gail, please.
So this one I actually read before, but then we had those other
Right.
two, so I'll reread it.
Please, yes, thank you, yes. I
Okay,
noted that,
whereas
thank you.
council feels it would be responsible and pragmatic to provide a report summarizing the plans and projects that the township has been working on during the current council term in order to ease the transition for the next council. Therefore, be it resolved that the council of the corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby direct the deputy clerk to provide the incoming council with a staff report for their information based on council discussion at the regular meeting of May 25th, 2022.
Thank you so much, Gail. May I have a mover, please, on this resolution? Councilor John Peroff, moved by Councilor Belinda Kestemaker. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you so much. Uh, Item number 10, bylaws.
Be it resolved that bylaw number 1928, being a bylaw to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the municipality of Wawa for the provision of the services of an asset manager coordinator, be hereby read a first and second time and be considered read a third time and finally passed.
Comments, observation by members of council? Being none, may I have a mover, please?
I'll move it.
Moved by Council Peter Kistenmaker, seconded by, please, Council Belinda Kistenmaker. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Carrie, thank you. Item number 10.2.
Be it resolved that bylaw number 1929, being a bylaw to authorize the next generation 911 authority service agreement between the Corporation of the Township of White River and Bell Canada, be hereby read a first and second time and be considered read a third time and finally passed.
Comments, observation from members of council, if any? Being none, may we have a mover, please? Councilor Belinda Kistenmaker, seconded by Councilor John Peroff. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you so much. Item 10.3.
So before I read this, Drago, hi Eileen.
Yes. Hi.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Well, wonderful. On behalf of the municipal council and the mayor who's not currently here, a sincere welcome to our community, a sincere welcome to the Corporation Township of Hornepayne. I hope you find your experience challenging, fun, and thoroughly enjoyable, and we welcome you with open arms, Eileen Singh. Miss Singh.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so excited. So thank you so much. I can't
And
wait
we
to
are
work with everybody.
Great.
We're
We are as
excited
well.
to have you.
There we go. Mutual feeling. How's that? There we go.
There we go. Okay, so we'll do the formalities. Be it
Please.
resolved that bylaw number 1930, being a bylaw to appoint Eileen Singh as Chief Administrative Officer Clerk to the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne, be hereby read a first and second time and be considered read a third time and finally passed.
Thank you, Gail. May I have a mover for this, please?
I'll move it.
Moved by Councilor Peter Kistenmaker, seconded by Councilor John Peroff. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Done.
Yay!
Done.
Congratulations.
It's
Thank
official.
I can't wait to meet everybody in person.
Great.
I'm so
Welcome
excited.
aboard. Just, you know, it's a train town. I said, welcome aboard. You know, it's sort of a fun.
The jokes, I love it.
Thank you so much for being part of the meeting.
Yes.
Item number 11, closed session. Gail, being none.
Correct, yes,
proceed.
that issue was resolved, yes.
Right. Item number 12, business arising from closed session. Being none, we'll proceed.
Okay, so.
Item number, please go ahead.
Sorry. Be it resolved that bylaw number 1931, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at their regular meeting held on Wednesday, May 25th, 2022, be hereby read a first and second time and be considered read a third time and finally passed.
Thank you, Gail. Mover, please. Councilor Belinda Kistenmaker, seconded by Councilor John Peroff. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Item 13.2.
Be it resolved that council does, Jen, we need to set the special meeting. Did we do that? Oh, we did that. Okay, sorry.
Yes, it's completed. Yes, it's all good.
Be it resolved that council does hereby adjourn this regular meeting of council held on Wednesday, May 25th, 2022 at 7:04 p.m.
7:04, yes. May I have a mover, please?
I'll move it.
Councilor John Peroff, seconded by Councilor Peter Kistenmaker. All in favor?
Aye.
Carrie, thank you so much, everyone, and have a super evening. Thank you.
Right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.